Welcome kindreds, it's Jessica. Happy New Year! Today is January 6th and it's the Cancer full moon, the first full moon of 2023. And today is also my first time doing the full moon spread in my Writual tarot journal. So I thought it would be fun to make a journal with me video sharing my journaling process and thoughts about this Cancer full moon. I make a page in my journal with some questions about relating to the moon, but in the Writual planner it has got like pre-printed questions. It's a 6-card spread and it's the same 6 questions for all of the full moons, and then it has different questions I believe for the new moons. Let me just check that actually. Yeah, so for the full moon, it's got harvest and witness. The first 3 questions are about that. And then there's the second 3 questions are about assess and align. And then for the new moon, the first 3 questions are about new beginnings, growing light. And then the next 3 are about dreaming and manifesting. So my full moon, I don't feel too precious about my full moon journaling, because even though I do that, like I said, in my journal usually, it's much more the new moon that I tend to focus on for my rituals themselves. I can't find that now. So the full moon, it's actually quite nice to have like pre-designed questions. I do tend to look at the actual lunation charts. This is my honeycomb planner, because I usually try to get the questions to be much more like actually connected to the specific energy of this full moon. So these are good questions for full moon journaling in general, like where am I right now? What is influencing me? What have I created since the last new moon? I like that one. And then what is no longer serving me? How can I let go and release this energy? And what can I learn during this cycle? Like they are nice questions for the full moon in general, but like we are looking at a Cancer full moon, so already we've got that energy of like cardinal water energies. It's very emotional. It is like feeling things and making something happen because of how we are feeling, you know, it's that strength of water energy in Cancer. So there's that kind of general Cancer energy which isn't taken into account necessarily in these questions. And then we've also got like this specific Cancer moon energy. So I like to look at the chart for the specific moons as well and sort of see, right, how is this Cancer moon like sort of similar to and then different from other Cancer moons. And I usually adjust the questions, like I said, to make them more specifically relevant to the moon. But what I've decided is for this one, I'm gonna just go with it. Like that's what I've been trying to do in this planner in general, because like this is the first time I've ever used a pre-printed planner for my tarot. I usually just do it in my journal. And I've been finding it really good. It's been keeping me like nicely on track, pulling cards. Like I pulled cards for the month. And like, I don't really love how it looks. It's a little bit like, my writing doesn't look so great in here because I've just been kind of trying not to be too precious about it and just kind of going for it and not worrying about making it look beautiful basically. And then you have 3 cards for every day, or they do different versions as well. Like this one is the whole year for 2023 with the 3-card version. They also have like ongoing undated ones that you can get, and they have some that only have like 1 card as well. And they also do a kids one, which I'm thinking about getting for my daughter, because I think the structure of it would be really nice for her as well, in like learning. It's really good if you're learning tarot, I think, to have something like this. I'm actually an ambassador for them, and if you want to get one, then there's a code to get 15% off, so I'll leave all that stuff in the description. But yeah, I've been finding it good and interesting because I don't normally have such a structured tarot practice as this, so I think it's going to be really good for me actually this year. But yeah, let's get back to this full moon in Cancer. And like I said, I will have a little look at this, but I'm not gonna alter the questions for this month. I might alter them next month. I'll see how I go. So generally this week I have been using the Chrysalis Tarot for my my readings. This is a kind of like hero's journey inspired deck, so it's got quite different, like the suits are different names, the pentacles are stones, the oh there we are, cups are mirrors. Isn't that beautiful? The artwork's really lovely. Spirals of fire, and what one haven't I said? Scrolls, I think, for typical, can't find one now. For the spirals for the air cards for the swords. So it's so it's a little bit different, but it's not really like, it is still quite, if you're familiar with the Rider-Waite, you can still read the imagery, but the imagery is not, it's not a Rider-Waite clone by any means, you know, it's different. All the court cards have also got their own meanings and names as well, which is interesting, and it does also change the names of all of the mages too, although it does have the traditional names for the mages on there as well. Like that devil card, Bella Rosa is the devil. So it is different, and I used to use this deck quite a lot because it was one of the ones I had when I didn't have very many decks, and now I haven't used it for a while, so it's been interesting to use this, but I don't think I am going to use it for this reading. I think I'm going to use some of the other decks. I've pulled some other ones down for this month. I've got my Dark Days, I've got the Joie de Vivre, so those are the two tarots I got. I think I will use tarot, and then I also took down a couple of oracle decks as well, so I think I'll just leave those there in case I want to come back to them, but I want to stick with tarot mainly. Oh, one last thing as well is, if you did see me setting up my ritual for the year, where I did like my year ahead and things like that, I made a tarot tracker in the back, and I have been filling that in. So who knows how long it'll last for, but it's kind of cool to see already, like some of the cards I've already been pulling more, and like I've definitely been much more wand heavy than like it was only yesterday I pulled my first cup card for this year, so I thought that was quite interesting. So I'd be expecting probably more cups cards to come out today, because we are in that watery moon. So I think I'm gonna use my Dark Days. What do you know what I'm gonna do actually? I'm gonna use my Joie de Vivre. Oh, my deck's getting caught on my plant. I'll use the Joie de Vivre for these first 3 questions, and I think I'll use the Dark Days for the second half of the questions, because these are more like about the kind of where I am right now, and then these ones are more about like things to get rid of, which the Dark Days is quite good at. So yeah, let's go with that. I think I'm just going to use a biro to fill it in, and maybe I'll use my Sigma Micron thing. Okay, so let's have a look. This first, and I'll come back to this page because I don't really want to fill this in until I've had a chance to like kind of journal and think about these answers to these questions, and then I feel like I'll have more to fill in on this bit. Yeah. Okay. So as you can see, this deck is a square deck, and it's an indie deck, but it is still available, and it's one of the ones I like to use. I showed this in my wrap up and like kind of what is happening this month, a month in my journal, which is one of the last videos I shared, if you're interested in seeing more of this deck. I'm not going to do like a flip through this here now, but it's completely a black and white deck. I'll cut some of this shuffling out because you don't want to watch me do like loads of shuffling. That one's shuffled and read. So this is the Joie de Vivre, which I'm going to use for the first 3 cards here. So I'm going to shuffle these. I'll cut the shuffling out. Okay, so both of my decks are shuffled and I'm ready. So I'm going to choose 3 from here and then 3 from here. So I'm just going to cut. Okay. And then I'm going to take 3. So where am I now? Where am I right now? What is influencing me? What have I created since the last new moon? So let's have a look what we've got. Where am I right now? King of Cups. So that is a really nice one for this Cancer full moon, you know, like full expression of water, with that kind of like generative cardinal creative energy. So yeah, really loving that, as that is where I am right now. I'm not sure I quite feel like I'm there right now, so that is nice. And then what is influencing me? 3 of Wands. Okay, so I've got that kind of like sense of adventure. I want to be like exploring new things, and how cool is this deck? Like, these are gorgeous cards. It's got that energy of like kind of almost like mischief, I want to say. Like, it's very playful the way that she writes these cards, and this is like one of my favorite decks to use. Paulina Cassidy, who created the deck, all of these characters have got names as well, so I'll definitely like look that up and find the rest of the information from that. And then what have I created since the last new moon? Okay, that's interesting, really interesting actually, because it's the Hanged Man, which, you know, is very much it's a major card, and I feel like it's been a major thing that I've been creating since the last full moon. I'll show you quickly actually, because it's funny that it's Hanged Man energy, because what I've been doing since the new moon, let me show you, I will just rabbit on, is this omen days practice. So the omen days are the 12 days. I talked about this a little bit in my last video as well. It's like the 12 days out of time. When they had the calendar changeovers, they were like these 12 days that they needed to add in because the sun cycle wasn't matching up with like the human calendar dates. So they added these 12 extra days, and in Celtic culture, those days were used for like omens, for finding omens for the upcoming year. So like the first day, which was January, was finding omens for the first day, which is Boxing Day, would be finding omens for January, and then the second day, which is December 27th, would be finding omens for February, and so on. So I created these pages in my journal to like hold my omen finding, basically, and I've labeled them all up with the months. And this is basically what I've been working on since the last new moon, because the last new moon was December 23rd, so I suppose there was a little bit of like Christmassy stuff as well going on there. But yeah, basically this is what I've been working on, and it has felt very Hanged Man energy, because I like it, and I've still got more to do here. There's still things that I'm working on, still things I'm filling in, but it's got that Hanged Man energy of like kind of out of time, being out of time, as in not like running out of time, but more as like I've been kind of suspended like the Hanged Man out of time while I've been figuring out, like kind of just taking a different perspective and looking at the world in a different way to gather this kind of information about what the whole year ahead might have in store for me, which is really fun and exciting. So today we're actually on the very last one of these days. We're here on end December, so I've started to make some notes. I haven't written any of my omens down for today, but yeah, how fun is it that that is what has been coming out as what I've been working on since the last new moon. That's really, really cool, really fun. So yes, loving that. I'll obviously journal those things in a bit now. I'm going to cut these. I've already shuffled, and then we'll see some of the stuff that I'm like getting rid of, basically the assess and align part. So what is no longer serving me? Interesting. 8 of Pentacles. So that kind of like energy of almost like of like hard work, of like repetitive work, of doing practice. And that's interesting because it's like certain elements of my practice definitely have been interrupted during this whole like omen days that have felt a bit out of time, and also just in general, like I feel like I want to be shaking things up. I am looking for like this new kind of adventures and things. So it feels like doing the things which I normally work on, my usual work, is no longer serving me, and I need to find new ways of doing things. Yeah, so that's really cool. And then how can I let go and release this energy? And I've got King of Cups again, so that is great because that is where I am at right now. So through my feelings, through my emotions, through trusting myself and my knowledge of myself, I can release that idea of like, I have to do this, the kind of daily grind kind of idea, you know, it's like, well, I have to do this because if otherwise, you know, the things aren't going to get done, that kind of thing, you know, I can release that and find a new way. And then it's, what can I learn during this cycle? And I've got the 6 of Swords. Okay, so for me, the 6 of Swords is very much like a kind of, like, look how gorgeous this card is. I'll try and like zoom in and so you can see it as well. It's like this boat going away to a different place where there's all these like gorgeous trees, and look, the moon's full there, or maybe that's the sun and here's the moon. You know, it's hard to tell because obviously they're black and white, but it's like trying to leave and go to this new place, but there's still all these like threads left behind. And so like the 6 of Swords is about kind of, sometimes for me it is about like trying to make a fresh start, but then like I can't actually make a fresh start because I'm still tied, I'm still tethered. And it's so interesting because on the new moon, when I was doing my new moon reflection and ritual, I pulled this card, which was Buzzard from the Weaver's Oracle. That is this, oh gosh, I'm throwing things around, this oracle deck. And this, you can see that she's got this like string of light here, and it's very much the energy of cutting things, of like letting things go. And that's what it feels like is needed, is like to kind of cut some of these ties which are like no longer serving. And I feel like this whole like moon cycle, like for me, the moon cycle very much moves from from the new moon to the new moon. That's the entire cycle. So the full moon is kind of like in the middle. It's like this is the opportunity to do like a check-in in the middle of the cycle. And it's also extra relevant because today, later on today, in a few hours, I am going to have my tongue tie snipped. Now, I know I've mentioned this on my channel before. I have got a tongue tie, which means sometimes you might notice that I say words a little bit funny because it slightly affects my speech, but it also affects things like eating and like tension in my neck and stuff like that. So I'm actually going to have a procedure on that today where they're going to cut it. And I don't know if I'll be making videos then for a little while because it takes a couple of weeks to heal up properly. But yeah, how interesting this got like kind of that physical element of cutting ties. And it is something that affected me in childhood because when I was a baby, it affected my ability to feed. And so it is literally like my ability to be nourished and my connection to mother, which is like the kind of gateway to a connection with the whole world, was compromised by this, like, not a disability, but like by this kind of thing that I have, which, you know, is fairly common, but lots of people have them, like they find them and cut them when people are babies and stuff, which obviously didn't happen with me as I'm in my 40s and I'm gonna have it done today. But yeah, that whole energy of like kind of severing things with the past, severing ties, is very much strong for me at the moment, and that feels really on point with what is happening in my life right now. So I think I'm just gonna take a little moment to fill in this page, and then maybe we'll come back and have a little look at this. So I've made those notes. I probably should have done that as like a time lapse or something, shouldn't I? Because I know sometimes people enjoy that kind of journaling thing, just to sort of see. So let me know if you think I should do one of these videos again when I do my full moon or new moon journaling, and if you'd like it to be like a time lapse, then I can most definitely do that. Maybe put like a bit of music on it or something like that. So I haven't put my stamps of the cards yet, so let's do that. I'm just using these stamps that I bought off Amazon, which somebody let me know. Ritual do make their own really lovely aesthetic stamps, but I didn't get them because they were quite expensive. So if you do want to get them, you can get 15% off them with a code. I think it works for everything in the store. So I've got King of Cups here, so I'm going to take my little cup stamp and just put it on my stamp block. And if you've used stamp blocks before, as you can see, I've been using these earlier, and that's why I've got this colour over me. The block is Versacolor. My pad, I mean, is a Versacolor pad. So I'm going to put that there for my King of Cups, and I'm also going to put it here because where was my King of Cups? It was in the middle, wasn't it, of my second row. And I'm going to write King because obviously it just says, yeah, I'm also going to write actually because I like to remember which deck that I've used when I've done readings. Like if I'm sticking pictures of the cards, I obviously know, but because I'm using the stamps now, I won't remember necessarily which deck I use. So this was Dark Days, so I'll write that above them, and this was Joie de Vivre, so let's put that there. Okay, cool. Like I say, I don't love how this looks necessarily, but it is good for having the structure for me filling it in basically. So yeah, that's good. So I'm done with that one now. To one side, and so Three of Wands, Hanged Man, it was the Eight of Pentacles, and I've already filled in the King, and it was the Six of Swords. Now I've got much more of an idea. So it's kind of weird to me that this is here and this is here. Like in a way I feel like they should be the other way around, but yeah, it feels like I need this before I can fill in this. So like I know now that here I'm going to be releasing. What am I releasing? Well, what can I learn during the cycle? What am I going to be releasing? How can I let go and release? I know that I need to make changes, especially to like the same old, like when I was thinking about that, I shouldn't have put those cards away, should I? Because we're still like reflecting on those. That Eight of Pentacles energy, I don't want to be just kind of grinding away on doing the same thing. So that is something that I need to release. And I think honestly, like when I have the tongue tie done, that operation is literally called a release. So that is going to be very much about that. When I was looking in the booklets about the little white books and the little black book of what some of these cards meant, the term rite of passage came up with that Six of Swords card, and that is definitely what it feels like. It feels like it is a rite of passage. So I think like quite naturally on this full moon, going through this operation, it is going to be releasing that. Gratitude. Do you know, I'm really grateful at the moment for having the time and space to reflect and be able to do those omen days. Like a lot of the things that we normally do in our lives have been a lot more quiet, so I'm going to be writing in here more about like just having that space, having some time, and having like a nice environment in our home to be able to do that. What I'm celebrating, I don't know, like I find this really hard. In the last how I feel, like that's a tiny box for how I feel but I will try and fill that in. And then we've obviously got some notes to forgive. Like usually whenever I have a forgive prompt, it's normally like I forgive myself for doing this because I give myself a hard time a lot. So, and I'm sure, you know, a lot of people can resonate that, especially that's what was coming up as well with this reading, is that almost like that divine masculine, that that healed divine masculine energy with the King of Cups. It's like that kind of emotionally mature masculine energy, which I need to lean into now, which I am leaning into now, because that is where I am right now. So that's something that I'm learning, and I think that'll have an impact on what I'm going to be filling in here. But yeah, it's funny because like they also have a space each week to write an affirmation, or a few affirmations I suppose, and I haven't written one in. I want to use affirmations, like I've done it in the past, but I never, because of the magic of it, I suppose. I feel like I'm kind of reluctant to choose one. I don't know, but that's something that I want to work on as well, being more like, that is what came up here as well, is like that idea of like will is important, balance of willpower and action. And like I know already for me, movement is my word for the year this year, and so like movement, interesting, isn't it? In like this card of what I need to release, she's sat and she's static at this desk, you know, getting on with, like she is doing stuff and there is movement in the machine, but she is not moving. Whereas where I need to go, like what I can learn is like to actually move, to change the physical place where I am, to move my body into a different physical place. And my thinking, obviously, because it's a swords card, you know, into a different place. Yeah, so lots to think about, lots to reflect on. I'll fill this in myself kind of after. I'm not like, sorry if this video is a little bit awkward. It was my first time, you know, doing like some ritual planning, journaling for this moon and for this. But yeah, let me know what you thought of it, whether you'd like to see these ongoing, and if you've got any suggestions for how I can make it better, then please do let me know that. Thank you so much for watching. Warmest blessings, and I will see you very soon.